Hey guys, what is going on? We are breaking down this likely Christmas blizzard. It's going to start to ramp up over the next couple of days, not only bringing heavy snow, but that bitter Arctic cold that we've been talking about since last week. I am going to show you what I think is going to happen with the snow amount, so stick around for that. We're going to start with the snow map, and then we're going to talk about the wind component of this. But wait, there's more. We're going to talk about the blast of Arctic air that will basically impact everybody unless you're watching from the desert Southwest or Southern California. If you are finding us for the first time, I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. We talk and track all things weather. Here we go. We're going to work our way from west to east, eventually getting into the Great Lakes, where I believe the bullseye of this storm is going to happen, so stick around for that. We're looking for the white color first. That is the 1 to 3 inch marker. I think some places in here, like the Rockies or at least in the foothills, could see a little bit more. Certainly in the higher elevations, we're going to see much more than that in Wyoming and Colorado. Moving to the east, though, you see this blue color from about Billings, Montana, down into the front range of the Rockies in Wyoming and Colorado, and then slicing the northern part of Kansas down into the southern part of Missouri and southern Illinois. We're talking about a good 2 to 4 inches of snow. This next color here is in purple. Now, I want to stress there's not a ton of moisture with this first punch of snow, the first part of this system sliding down from the Canadian Rockies. The deal with this is it's going to be so cold that our snow ratios are going to be very, very high. So again, in the purple here, from about Glasgow, Montana, into the northern half of North Dakota, getting down towards Alexandria, Minnesota, through St. Cloud, Fort Dodge, back towards Omaha, and then the northern half of Missouri into the central and northern part of Illinois. That's where I think we're going to see 4 to 8 inches of snow. If you are liking this video, if you're finding it informative, please hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me out a lot. I would also love to know if you are traveling for Christmas and where you're headed to. Post that in the comments below. Buckle up. The telestrator is fired up and ready to go. We are going to start with the higher totals, where I think the jackpot of this storm is going to be, and then we're going to work our way down into parts of the south, which I do think have a shot at a little bit of snow. So here we go in the pink. Certainly the winners of this, if you love the snow, going to be the UP of Michigan. This is where it's going to be 8 to 16 inches, and honestly, I think we are going to get above 16 in spots in the UP of Michigan. Getting down into the peninsula here, a lot of the mitt covered up in this pink from Grand Rapids south into the Indiana border and then towards South Bend. This is where we could see a good 8 to 16 inches of snow. There's also going to be the potential for more than that, potentially more than 2 feet in isolated areas from about Traverse City to the west and south of Grand Rapids, and then right off of Lake Michigan towards South Bend. We're going to have the opportunity as the lakes kick in to get more than 16 inches of snow, but I think a widespread 8 to 16 is looking likely for areas west of Detroit. Now, for Detroit itself, we're just not in the right area, and we tend to miss out a lot either with low pressures riding this way and blasting Chicago, or way over here and then blasting this area. So we're just kind of in a weird spot, geographically speaking, to get in on these big snows. Now, I'll show you when I go hour by hour why I think we're going to get 4 to 8 inches of snow. But Detroit, we are in that. Same for Fort Wayne. Back towards Indianapolis, I think we are in the 4 to 8 inches as well. Same deal for St. Louis. And we mentioned Kansas City, down into the most of the eastern half of Iowa. Not because there's a ton of moisture with this, at least in Iowa, but because it's going to be so cold, those ratios are going to be crazy high. All right, the 2 to 4 inches. We talked about Arkansas and into parts of Missouri. Going to highlight this again. I think a lot of Illinois gets in, the southern part anyway, gets in on the 2 to 4 inches. Kentucky, Bowling Green, Lexington, we could get 2 to 4 inches of snow. For us in Columbus, Mansfield, and then just south of Cleveland, we could get 2 to 4 inches of snow. I'm going to get to the lakes in 1 second, so stay with me. Also into the higher elevations here, a good 2 to 4 inches of snow in the Blue Ridge Mountains and on the western slopes of West Virginia. I do think there is the potential here as well, especially Pocahontas County, right around the Greenbrier. Again, getting down towards Hot Springs in Virginia as well. On the western side here, we could see those isolated totals, as we typically do in an event like this, into that 4 to 8 potentially even getting up into double digits. So we're going to watch that for you as well. And then the higher elevations into Tennessee, into parts of North Carolina, we could get in on that 2 to 4 inch range. All right, now the 1 to 3 inch. So we're going further south. So parts of Tennessee, I think we have a good shot at a white Christmas. We talked about this even early in December, that I thought there'd be something that would be rolling into parts of the south. So again, Fayetteville, Arkansas, I think we're going to get 1 to 3 inches. Memphis, I think we're going to see some flakes out of the deal. I don't think it's going to amount to much, an inch or less. Same deal in parts of southern Tennessee. Nashville, right now, I have you in the 1 to 3 inches. The higher elevations, again, of Tennessee, even in northern Georgia, have the potential for 1 to 3 inches of snow. Back to the lakes. All right, so right around Cleveland, I think we could get a good 4 to 8 inches, if not even higher than that. Erie, I think we're in that 8 to 16. Certainly as you move towards south of Buffalo, Orchard Park, and into Rochester, Watertown, the lakes go crazy, not only through Christmas Eve, but again, going forward through that as well. We are going to have a ton of snow. The white Christmas is guaranteed for you. If I didn't mention your city, if I don't have your city name plotted on this map, it's not that I don't care about you. It's impossible to kind of populate the map with all of the names. Please hit me up in the comments if you have a question about a specific area, and we will have that conversation, and I will let you know what I think for your town. But again, it's not that I don't care. It's not that I'm brushing over you guys. There's just a lot going on, just pointing out some of these select cities here on this snow map. I know I told the story backwards, but I wanted to give you an idea of how much snow I think is going to fall in your area, and then going to go over the timeline since it's going to start and end for different areas at different times. So this is Wednesday morning now at about 7 a.m., and here is our first piece. So it's starting to snow parts of Idaho into Wyoming, into western Minnesota, and then through parts of the Dakotas as well. This is piece 1. This is piece 2 out here, giving kind of an ugly Tuesday and start to Wednesday in Florida and parts of the southeast. That is going to drift this way. That is going to kind of dig off to the south and east. Now we're going to go forward into the future by about 12 hours or so. We'll take that back. Here is where the snow starts. As I pull back out my telestration, here is the shield of snow. This is going to be on Wednesday evening at about 6, 7 o'clock Central Time, and it's snowing at a pretty good clip through the Dakotas, into Nebraska, into Minnesota and Iowa. Here is this other junky piece right off the southeast coast of the United States. Telestration goes off so we can go forward into the future. Here we go now on Thursday morning, and this is about the time those two entities start playing with each other. I want to point out a couple of things on this map really quick, and the first is going to be, you see some of the mixed precip in the Blue Ridge Mountains, also in parts of the mountainous regions of West Virginia and Northern Virginia as well. This is going to be before the main storm gets here. This is going to be a cold air damming event, so we have high pressure chilling over Maine right now, and that's going to send some cooler air down the Appalachian Mountains and help to change some of that over. So again, this is not a part of the main system per se, but certainly could be impactful here as we get into Thursday morning. So be on the lookout for that if you have to travel up and down I-81. Here is the main part, getting a little bigger now. Note these isobars, those black lines getting closer together. We could start to have blizzard conditions in parts of the plains, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, as early as late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. There's a lot going on here. Fast forward. Now here's that explosion of the two systems. We'll go back out to Friday. This is about midnight to 1 a.m. Central Time. There's all that nasty cold rain in the Northeast, again, robbing us from the white Christmas, at least on the I-95 corridor. Here is the center of low pressure, and then this thing really starts to crank out. Heavy snow. Most of Indiana, a lot of Kentucky, into central Tennessee, into Illinois, Wisconsin, western Michigan, getting blasted with snow at this time. And then it continues. Again, that's early morning. This is about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And this is why I mentioned about Detroit getting the snow. Here we go. Low pressure sitting right here, again, sending all of that cold. So as it moves away from Detroit. There's still moisture to be had, and that's why we at least get some snow again. This is a pretty atypical setup that we see happening here, which is going to help Detroit in this stage of the game. As we move into early Christmas Eve, this is Saturday morning. Here is where our low is, right up in here, but we have the wind right off of the lake, so over Lake Superior, over Lake Michigan. That helps to give us more snow in places like South Bend, Cleveland, Erie, just south of Buffalo, with that wind out of the north and northwest as we move into Christmas Eve. By and large, I think things settle down big time if you have to travel on Christmas Eve, but the wind is still going to be whipping. Did somebody mention wind? Here we go. Look at this. This is nuts. So this is on Thursday morning. It's breezy, 15, 20 miles an hour through Indiana, through Illinois, through Ohio. Watch this. This is when that explosion happens. As we get into late Thursday night into Friday morning, note these yellows and oranges that pop up. Those are wind speeds on the order of 40 to 50 miles an hour, and that's going to extend at this point, as of Friday morning, from about Chicago through a lot of Illinois, through a lot of Indiana, into Kentucky, and then through West Virginia, parts of Virginia, into Pennsylvania, and then certainly through Michigan. So there is going to be a large footprint here of strong winds come Friday morning. So big trouble spots if you're trying to fly in to Chicago. Not only are we going to have some heavy snow falling at this time, but we could have close to blizzard conditions as well. I mean, it's going to be a no-go. Western Michigan, there's so much going on. Indianapolis, it's going to be hard as well. Even if our snow starts to taper off, we're going to have gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour. Same deal in Cleveland. Back towards Cincinnati, we have those wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Going forward with not just this crazy wind, it's the cold. We've been talking about this for about a week or 10 days now, that this was going to be a three-parter. The snow, the wind, and then the cold. And not very many people are escaping the cold. I keep on calling you guys out in the desert Southwest because I might be a little jealous. The Rockies are going to help to prevent that cold from really spilling over the way that this is oriented. So we're starting on Wednesday morning. Okay, this is Wednesday morning, and everybody above where I'm about to draw is below zero. Not just below zero, way below zero. We're talking 15 to 25 degrees below zero. Stick around for 1 second. If you want to see some crazy wind chills, I have that coming up. All right, forward. Back to Thursday morning. Here is our Arctic cold front getting ready to slice right on through Illinois, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas. Look at this. It's 2 degrees in the panhandle of Texas. It's 44 in Houston. Crazy front. Going forward in time, this is on Friday morning. You see that Arctic air just expand to the west. Here is our Arctic cold front now getting down into New Orleans, the panhandle of Florida, into western Pennsylvania. Look at all this pink pop up in the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming. That's about 20 to 40 degrees below zero. That is without the wind. Those are actual air temperatures. The dust settles with this system on Saturday from a snow standpoint, but it is going to be majorly cold. We're talking about places like Miami in the low 40s, Orlando at the freezing mark, some places north of there into the 20s. So you can't really escape this cold in Florida if you're planning on going there. It's going to be chilly in the desert Southwest, but nothing like what we are going to see to the east. Still back into Minnesota and the Dakotas, 15 to 20 degrees below zero on Saturday morning. All right, so I promised some craziness. And if you want to see some craziness, you have come to the right place. Not only is this going to be windy, potential blizzard, likely blizzard. Not only is it going to have snow, it's going to have the extreme cold. And if anybody's traveling to the northern plains and upper Midwest, it is going to be nasty. Again, we could have a straight up ground blizzard post the snow stopping, which is just the snow blowing around from the wind because the winds are still so strong from anything that has fallen on the ground. But look at this. In this purple, that is 50 to 60 degrees below zero. A lot of you guys mentioned this in the comments last night, and very, very good. And it's, again, a couple of things I do want to mention with this and good things to point out. If you have pets outside, anywhere in the country, bring them in. If you're cold, they are cold. Please remember your pets to do that. The second thing is to make sure that you have some kind of survival kit in your car, extra coats, extra blankets. This is pretty much unsurvivable if you get stuck on the highway because of the visibility issues going down, and if you get stuck in some snowdrifts, something like that. 50 to 60 degrees on bare skin is frostbite and less than 5 minutes. I lived up here for a long time in the upper Midwest. It is no joke when it gets this cold. I know we are hardy in this part of the country, and believe me, I love it. But this is some dangerous stuff. So those are my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know I didn't get to mention every single name, and I'm really sorry about that. I do care about everybody. Time just doesn't allow for that. If you do have a question about a specific town or city or a route that you are taking, I'll be more than happy to send you my thoughts again personally. Please post that in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to that in a timely manner. If you love talking and tracking the weather on a quiet day or on a crazy day like what we're about to see, we would love to have you in this weather community. Please hit that subscribe button. And again, if you hit the alert bell, you will be alerted to any time we post new content. Stick around and watch the videos that are suggested to you, because those are the ones that YouTube thinks that you're going to like. Thank you so much. Be safe, and we'll catch you next time.